Hey guys, I'm going to go through some photography starting points today for FMP, including portraiture, commercial, fashion and a little bit of abstract. I'm also going to go through the ways in which you can research work as well as analyse your own practice and how you want to move forwards in the future. The best place to start with any photography research is looking back historically at people who practice photography. Quite often these people captured their imagery on film as opposed to digital, which is definitely worth mentioning in your own photographic research. Magnum is a really good resource in terms of researching photographers, both historical and modern. They have an archive of photographers' work to explore, and each photographer has had to apply and go through a rigorous selection process in order to be featured as part of the collective. You can find photographers on the website such as Eve Arnold, Martin Parr and Gregory Halpern, to name a few. Their work is listed alongside their name with a small bio about their career. You can also catch up on their most recent work as well as purchase their photography books. The best way to research the work of photographers is using the 5 C's method of analysis, which you have covered in class before. You start off by talking about the content, so what is in the image. You can start off with any image from a photographer, but it always helps if there's a lot going on. I'm going to start with this image from photographer Jamie Hawksworth, who did a series about Preston bus station. Here you can see a teenager led on a bus station bench, with a woman in the background who may or may not be with them. The woman behind is reading a newspaper or a magazine, and the teenager looks bored as he poses for the camera. We cannot see anyone else around, so we can assume the bus station is quiet. You can talk about a lot in this section, but here are some questions to prompt your thinking. What are they wearing? What do they look like? Are they holding anything? What are their surroundings like? What is the weather like? And are they with anyone? The next part of the analysis process is talking about composition, so here we will talk about composition techniques such as rule of thirds and leading lines. There are loads of different types of compositional techniques, and it is worth researching some of these in your own time. However, the 4 main ones that we always look at are rule of thirds, symmetry, frame within a frame and leading lines. You might sometimes see a lot of these in landscape photography rather than portraiture, but it is worth in this section just seeing if you can talk about any of the compositional techniques that you already know or do some further research. Following on from composition, you then want to talk about context, which is why have they taken the image and what is the purpose. Coming back to this image by Jamie Hawksworth, there are a few things you can discuss. The reason behind this series of work was Preston bus station was due to be demolished, and Jamie Hawksworth's intention was to capture the people that visited the bus station on a daily basis. Research into the photography here is key, and if you are struggling to find or understand the context, put yourself into the photographer's shoes and think about why they might have captured the image. Does it represent something about themselves, or a current affair such as climate change or social standing? What does the series mean to you, and does that differ from what it means to other people? The penultimate analysis point is connection, which arguably is the most important, as it allows you to think into the future and how you would like your work to be produced. When using some of these starting points, make sure you are thinking about how they might influence you in your practical work. Using the experimental work of Alma Hasser as a starting point, you might want to discuss how the use of origami can help you with your experimentation, or how the use of muted tones within the portraits might influence your editing process in Photoshop. This is a really good time to reflect upon your current thoughts and feelings about the topic of the FMP, but also think about what you aspire towards producing at the end of the project. And now finally, the final point of the analysis process is comment. So do you like the work and why? I would hope by this point you've chosen a photograph that you really do like or that you really do feel influences your work moving forwards. You need to discuss why you like this piece of work. What is it about it that inspires you? What is it about it that made you choose this piece of work in order to research? It could be anything to do with the visual, it could be anything to do with the editing process or the way it has been displayed. But this is the time where you can really talk about the photograph and it is entirely your opinion. What I'm going to do now just to end this video is to cycle through some photographers that I would recommend. These are portraiture photographers or commercial or fashion based or documentary. So these are all photographers that I've used in the past or I might have shown you in class, and all of their practice is very different. Some might focus on portraits of people outdoors, which at this time isn't something you might be able to do. They might focus on creating a studio, which will be one of our upcoming videos, or they might use different processes on Photoshop. So the choice is yours really. If you see a photographer that you like, I would really like you to try the 5Cs process whilst you are looking at them. I've also included some photographers on here who look specifically at the theme of home and what that means to them. So Larry Sultan is one of them. He documented his grandparents. This photographer here documented one of their neighbours, which might be a good project to do. But just making use of your surroundings at this time where we're not supposed to be leaving the house because of the UK lockdown, if you want to call it that. It would be really useful to focus on that as an experiment or as a final project. It's up to you. So guys, that's all I've got time for today. I sound like a proper YouTuber. But I am going to do another video at the end of the week which looks into all the genres I've not yet covered. The reason I've not put them into this video today is because due to the lockdown that we're experiencing, it might not be feasible to experiment with some of these genres, but the video is coming, I promise you that. But for now guys, stay safe and I'll catch you on the next video. Bye!